The big thing that somebody needs to know before they'll buy your offer is that it's possible for somebody like them in their particular situation to achieve the outcome that your offer promises, to solve that problem that they are experiencing. And often this is going to be people who have tried other solutions. They've tried to solve this problem before and they have failed. So they're a little bit skeptical, they're doubtful, they're questioning whether it's possible for them. They might even be blaming themselves or just in the state where they think it's not actually possible for somebody like me to have this outcome. Welcome to Imperfect Action. I'm Steph Taylor. For years, I read all the books, downloaded all the freebies, and did all the courses. But it wasn't until I started taking imperfect action that my business had its first $1 million year. Imperfect action is about doing things before you're ready, prioritizing consistent action over perfect action, and moving forward, even when you're not sure you're doing it right. On this show, you can expect mindset advice, actionable marketing tips, and strategies to build a business that brings you more profit, more freedom, and even more joy. Are you on the list to get my daily biz boosters? Every day, I'll send you a bite-sized prompt designed to help you grow your business in a more intentional way. Sign up at stephtaylor.co/DBB or at the link in the show notes. Hey, welcome back to Imperfect Action. This is episode 682. Today, I'm answering some of the questions that were submitted when I put out a call out on Instagram a few days ago, asking you to share your questions about launching and selling your online offers, whether that's a course, program, a membership, even coaching. And I got some really great questions in response. So today I'm answering questions around how to come up with ideas for your digital product, where to start, whether to start with a lower ticket course or a higher ticket service, figuring out what somebody needs to know before they buy your offer so that you can share content around that and move them to the point where they're ready to buy, whether to be upfront about the pricing for higher ticket offers, how to pay guests to teach inside your courses and programs, launching a low-cost membership, and pre-selling your offers when you are maybe not so inclined to create something on a tight deadline. So those are some of the questions that I'm going to be diving into today. And let's kick it off with number one. So question number one, how can I come up with ideas for a digital product? I'm struggling to do so with my niche. This question came up a couple of times. I also had one that was similar where somebody said, I've never launched anything. I want to launch, but what to launch is the big question. So I did a really big deep dive into this in an episode on its own, in episode 668, where I talked about how to decide what to launch next to make maximum profit in your business. If you want the direct link to that episode, send me a DM on Instagram. Send me the number 668 to stephtaylor.co on Instagram, and I will send you the link to listen to that episode. In that episode, I shared both how you can choose between ideas when you have way too many ideas for a digital product, as well as how to come up with new ideas when you know you want to add some kind of course or program or membership to your business offerings, but you don't quite know where to come up with those ideas. So regardless of what niche your business is in, here are a couple of questions that'll help you come up with ideas for a course or program or a membership that you can add to diversify your income streams and start creating a little bit more freedom away from just delivering services. So question number one, what problems can you solve for somebody? Number two, what frustrations can you ease for your ideal client? Number three, how can you improve someone's life, even just a tiny little bit? Number four, what are your strengths? Number five, what comes easily to you, but doesn't come easily to other people? I think often we overlook just how these things that come so easily to us, other people might not be able to do them quite as easily, but we assume that everybody else can. And then lastly, what is one small win that you could help somebody to achieve? These are all questions that will probably change. The answers to these will change over time. And a great question to check in with yourself regularly is, what does my audience need right now? And what are my strengths right now? And this answer is going to change based on what's going on in their external world, as well as what's going on in their lives. You know, what my audience as business owners need now is very different to what they needed 3 years ago when we were in lockdowns. So constantly come back to this question. What does my audience need right now? And what are my strengths right now? Okay, question number 2. Where do I start? Lower ticket course or higher ticket service? So when you're deciding what to sell next in your business, what offers to create next in your business, always check in. What is your priority right now? And what is your vision for the longer term in your business? Because creating a lower ticket course right now, that's not going to create a lot of cash flow. But once it is done, now you have the time that you can focus on delivering your higher ticket service, for example. On the other hand, creating a higher ticket service, that will give you a good cash flow right now, but then you need to deliver that service, which is quite time intensive. And that might mean that you don't have as much time to spend actually building out this course, which I assume is in that longer term vision for your business. Also thinking about what does your audience need first? So for example, let's say that they have a problem that needs solving before they'll be ready to work with you in that higher ticket service. And maybe that lower ticket course solves that problem for them so that then when they finish it, the next obvious step for them is to come and work with you. Okay. Question number 3. What does someone need to know before they buy my offer or anyone's offer? And then I also had a similar question where somebody was saying, how do you uncover the magician's gap for specific niches? So the big thing that somebody needs to know before they'll buy your offer is that it's possible for somebody like them in their particular situation to achieve the outcome that your offer promises, to solve that problem that they are experiencing. And often this is going to be people who have tried other solutions. They've tried to solve this problem before and they have failed. So they're a little bit skeptical, they're doubtful, they're questioning whether it's possible for them. They might even be blaming themselves or just in the state where they think it's not actually possible for somebody like me to have this outcome. You know, they might have certain beliefs about themselves. For example, with my A to Z podcast launch plan, which is one of my offers, I know that one of the beliefs that comes up is I'm not techie enough to start a podcast. And I can do the best selling to them. I can have so much excitement around my offer. I can share amazing testimonials, all of that. But somebody isn't going to buy the podcast launch plan until they can see that they are techie enough to start a podcast. Or maybe your ideal customer doesn't understand what it actually takes to solve the problem that they're experiencing or to achieve that outcome that they desire. They're barking up the wrong tree, essentially. For example, maybe they think that, if I come back to my ideal client, they think that selling an online course is about finding the right people and getting them excited to buy. But the actual way to sell it, and I as the expert know this, the actual way to sell it is to nurture them and to bridge this magician's gap with their content. Okay, so we want to make sure that we are meeting them where they're at and we're understanding all of the different things that they need to know, believe, understand, think about themselves, about the problem, about the solution, about the outcome before they will be ready to buy. Okay, question number 4. With a big ticket offer, for example, a 12-week course, are you always upfront about the pricing? Usually, yes. Usually I will put the pricing on the sales page for my courses. If it is a higher ticket offer where, they're going to be probably working with me in quite a close capacity, then the offer is usually going to be by application only. And in that case, I will put in the application form, I'll put a question around the budget, or I'll say, this is an investment of X amount. Is that in your budget? Yes or no? And that way I'm not wasting their time. They're not having to fill out this big long form or jump on a call before they know whether it's something they can actually afford. And I'm not wasting my time by jumping on calls or reading applications from people who don't have the budget to sign up either. Okay, question number 5. How do you pay guests to teach in your online course? This one really depends on the context. So if they are teaching something that will be recorded and sold indefinitely as part of the core content of your course, then that is a conversation that I would have with them around what feels fair for them. And I would make sure that there's some kind of written contract or agreement in place around how you can and can't use their content and whether they can use their content. What is that agreement going to look like for you? And what is that fair price for them? Because you are essentially selling their IP in this case, their intellectual property. If it's something where it's like a bonus masterclass that they're teaching live, maybe the replay's available for a little while, it might be something that they've pitched to me in that case, and they have complete freedom over what they actually teach. In that case, if somebody's pitched it to me, typically I won't pay them for this because for them, they are getting exposure to quite a large audience of their ideal clients. They have an opportunity to pitch to them. They have complete freedom over the content. So they're probably not creating the content that they're teaching from scratch. So in that case, I would probably not pay them for this. Or otherwise, we would negotiate something around an hourly rate depending on what they are teaching. If they have to create something brand new from scratch to teach, they can't just teach an existing masterclass that they already have, or they can't just show up and answer questions, then I would definitely be paying them for the time taken to create that new content. But it's going to be very much situation by situation. And a lot of the time it is just having that discussion with the person and understanding what is fair for both parties involved. Okay, question number 6. I'd love some tips on launching a low-cost membership. So I personally don't have experience launching a low-cost membership, but go back and listen to episode 637 with Liz Wilcox, where I interviewed her and she shared a little bit about how she grew her $9 a month membership to a 6-figure business. Send me a DM with the number 637 to stephtaylor.co on Instagram, and I will send you the direct link to listen to that episode. That has been one of our most popular episodes ever on this show. I think Liz's approach to building her membership in a way that was really low responsibility, low commitment for her, and really fit in with her lifestyle, I think that is an approach that more people really need to think about in their businesses. So send me 637 on Instagram. I'll send you the link to listen to that episode. It is a gold episode. Okay, so a couple of things to keep in mind when you are doing a low-cost membership or low-ticket membership. That means that you need quite a lot of volume to make a lot of sales. And whenever you are selling something at volume, so you're selling it at quite a high scale, you might have 100. So let's say you've got a $9 a month membership. 100 members is $900 a month in sales. If you want to build a 6-figure membership, you need close to 1,000 members. And with that kind of volume comes quite a lot of customer support challenges. There are going to be people who forgot their passwords, people who want to cancel, people who forgot to cancel and want a refund, people who are, they don't know where to find certain things in the membership. So there's going to be a lot of extra customer support involved in maintaining that. Retention is another challenge that comes up with most memberships. So it's one thing to grow the membership, but if you are getting 10 members in a month and then losing 10 members, you're actually not growing the membership. So you also need to work on how you are retaining those people, which means having a strategy in place for how do we win people back if they're about to cancel? How can we ensure that they're staying engaged if they're dropping off? All of that. There's a lot more that goes into running a membership than I think most people realize. And you still have to sell it. Even if it's a lower price point, you still need to have some kind of sales process to bring people into the membership. So for example, it could be that you do a little live launch a couple of times a year where you are running a 7-day, if somebody signs up within the 7-day period, for example, they get an extra bonus. Or maybe you live launch it a couple of times to see what works and get a sales process that's really, honed in and converts nicely, and then automate that. But you still need to have some kind of sales process. Now, I can't comment on this much as I haven't done this in my own business. Haven't ruled it out. I do constantly toy with the idea of creating a membership of some kind, but I really would encourage you to think about where this fits in with your broader business ecosystem, right? With everything, anytime we are adding any new offers to our business, we want to think about where is this living with all of the other things that I sell? What step is somebody taking before this? What step is somebody taking after this offer? How can I increase their lifetime value? How can I increase the amount of value I am also delivering to them over their lifetime? How can I keep getting them to come back over and over again rather than just looking at each offer in isolation? Okay, question number 7. I know we're supposed to sell our course before we create it to validate our offer and make sure it's what people want. And I totally get the concept of making tweaks to the content in response to live feedback, but the thought of it stresses me out. The idea of having to rush creation or be tied to a specific timeline or deadline when I'm creating something new just breaks my brain. Do you have advice for how to do this in a calm and manageable way? So with anything in business, there's no real supposed to, okay? It's not like there's just one way to do it and that's the way you have to do it. Yes, pre-selling something before you've created it is one way to do it. It's the way that I love to do it because in the past, I have invested ages, like months, into creating offers that nobody has really wanted because I hadn't tested whether people would pay money for it. And also because I really like having a deadline. My little ADHD brain will put things off forever until I have that deadline to get something done. Otherwise, I will prioritize all of the other bright, shiny, fun objects over that. There are other ways that you can do it though. So you don't have to sell this entire thing before you go and create the content for it. You could start creating it at the same time that you are launching it. So let's say that you are allowing 12 weeks to share launch content and lead up time. And then you could create it at the same time. So you've got that 12-week deadline to create your course. And this is what a lot of my Launch Magic students do. It is a little bit of extra work doing the whole launch at the same time as creating the offer. So when I say doing the launch, you are showing up and sharing that content. You're creating a sales page. You're creating your cart open emails. You might be creating a webinar to sell it. So you're doing all of that simultaneously at the same time that you are creating that course content, but you still have that deadline now. So you can't just keep stretching it out into next year, the year after, and then it becomes this thing that never gets finished. Or alternatively, you create a couple of weeks worth of content and you launch it with the first few weeks done, and then you create the rest week by week. So you're always a few weeks ahead. So you don't have a really, really tight, urgent deadline, but you still have a deadline in place there. It's not so much with this whole process, it's not so much about rushing the creation as it is about giving it an end date. Otherwise, you can spend so much time creating this beautiful, perfect offer that's so valuable, but you've never actually tested whether somebody's going to pay money for it. And you also run the risk of perfectionism, procrastination taking over. And then before you know it, you're a year down the track and you've got nothing to show for it. So really finding that happy medium of what is enough of a deadline and what is a way that you can validate it before you've gone and invested a huge amount of your time that you can't get back. Okay, final question, number 8. My course is for high school and college students, but the parents are the buyers. Do you have any tips for marketing it? So this one comes up quite a lot in slightly different audiences. So in this case, you're selling something where the people who are taking the actual course, the students for the course, aren't the same people as the person who is buying the course. In this case, you want to look at who is making the buying decision. And in your question, it's the parents. The parents are making that buying decision. So your free content, your lead magnet, your webinar, I would be directing all of this at the parents, not at the students. So in this case, thinking about what do the parents need to know about your course to be ready to buy it for their kids. And this is something where you need to uncover that magician's gap as it relates to the parents. What do they need to know about the course? What do they need to know about their kids? They need to understand that it's possible for their kids to achieve this outcome that your course delivers. And I can't tell you exactly what these things will be because I don't know your course, I don't understand the context, and I'm not the expert in what you do, but you need to go out and do some audience research, talking to the parents and finding out what they need to know to be ready to buy for their kids. All right, so there you have it. A couple of questions that came up. If you have other questions that you would like me to answer in an episode, I do occasionally do Ask Steph episodes. You can submit your question at stephtaylor.co/asksteph. You can submit them anonymously as well if you would like. And then I create an entire episode answering your question. So feel free to jump on over and do that. If you have learned anything from any of the episodes on this show, you're finding it helpful, please take 30 seconds to leave me a quick rating and a review. A lot of work goes into creating this show from me, from my team, and it means a lot to us when we see the happy feedback coming through every time somebody leaves an awesome review. So please do take 30 seconds to do that. It's not even 30 seconds, like less than 30 seconds. And if you're not subscribed to this show already, hit the plus in Apple Podcasts or follow in Spotify, and you will get each new episode straight to your podcast app every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Thank you so much for listening. Catch you next time.